Heath Grossman here with Money Wisdom Question Series. Today's question is, what should I be doing if I am laid off? So we're at a point right now where unemployment is still historically low. However, we are hearing some more stories about companies that are laying people off. And what we need to understand is that there's a big difference between being fired or being laid off. If someone is fired, it is because of their own actions. If someone is being laid off, which is very common for companies to undergo a period of time where they want to cut costs, but if someone is being laid off, it's through no fault of their own. And someone that's being laid off is certainly entitled to specific benefits. So number one, if you're being laid off, you want to ask about severance pay and other benefits that might be available to you. It's very common that if someone gets laid off, they do continue to get severance benefits, and that could be dependent upon how long they might have been with the company. You also want to find out if you are going to be paid out for unused sick time or vacation time that you've accrued. Now, an important thing to ask about is health insurance. It's very common that an employee would get health insurance through their employer. So the question you want to ask is, how long is my health insurance being paid for, and what are my options after that? Most people can go onto what's called COBRA, meaning that they can continue their health insurance benefit through that employer. Now, they would not have it subsidized anymore, so you would pay the full price at that point, and you could do that for up to 18 months. So a question being for a person that has been laid off is there maybe a spouse that they could jump onto that person's health insurance benefits, or would it make sense to continue to pay for the existing coverage under COBRA? Now, it's also very common that employers sponsor a retirement plan like a 401k or a 403b type of plan. So the other question would be, what should I be doing with my retirement account? There are instances where if you get laid off from a company where they want you to actually move that money out of the account, or there's also instances where maybe you can keep that money where it is. I'd say most often folks are rolling that money out to an individual retirement account that they can control and have more flexibility and options with. Another thing to think about and an action to take is to file for unemployment benefits. If you are laid off due to no fault of your own, you are entitled to unemployment compensation. The amount of the compensation is going to vary by the state that you live in and your level of income from that company. It's also a good time to assess your personal finances, particularly your expenses. You don't have any more income coming in from that employer. So is there still enough income as a household coming in if there's a spouse that has income coming in to meet your level of expenses? Or is it time to tighten the belt and start to look at your expenses and maybe cut out certain expenses? And finally, from a non-financial standpoint, undergoing a layoff is certainly something that happens to a lot of people, and it happens to the best of us, but it could be a little bit of a blow to your psyche and your ego. What I would say is to keep your head up and take your time to make peace with what has happened, and make sure you understand that the layoff itself is not any type of reflection of your value. Once again, this is Heath Grossman with Money Wisdom Question Series.